Okay. Yeah, sure.
Hi. I just wanted to come and thank you all. I grew up here in Gillette, and since going to college at University of Florida, I've gotten involved in a church up there away from home. And I've had some really cool opportunities with them, but you all, even though I'm not able to be here for most of the year, have still continued to pray for and support me. And so a lot of the reason why I was able to go on this mission trip to Spain was because of the support that my home church members donated to help send me. So I just wanted to show you all, I guess, what you helped to do through just a couple of pictures. So this is our group that went to Spain in front of our church in Gainesville. There were 9 of us, I think. So you can go to the next picture. This is a picture of the cathedral in downtown Seville, which is the city that we stayed in Spain. And I just want to give you a little bit of background about why. I was kind of confused for a little bit, like why we were going on a mission trip to Spain, because I knew that there was such a rich religious history there. But this church is one of the reasons why. It's the 3rd largest cathedral in the world. There's a lot of Catholic history and heritage there in Spain, and that has a lot to do with the lostness of the entire country of Spain, specifically in Seville. The Catholic Church was a lot different a couple hundred years ago than it is today, and they were kind of like a dictatorship for the people, and even today, like, they still have a lot of control over the people's lives, and that has left everybody basically really bitter towards the Catholic Church because they kind of try to run their lives. So a lot of people there are very bitter towards God and any kind of religion. So you'll hear people say that I'm Catholic, but I'm also atheist. To them, Catholic is a culture, and they really don't want anything to do with it, but that's just what their family has always been, so that's just what they are. So that was a big challenge in the ministry that we worked in Spain, because people, anything that's not Catholic, though, it's weird because they're so bitter towards the Catholic Church, but they're still very loyal to it in a way. So anything that's not Catholic, they think is a cult. So we had to be very careful in how we approach sharing the gospel, because if you say anything that's not Catholic, they'll just kind of snub their nose like, oh, you're crazy, you're a member of a cult, I'm not going to listen to you, Catholic is what it is. So the next picture, this is us. I didn't have a picture in front of, like, with the whole thing, but there's this really beautiful monastery there that has crazy history in it. The Protestant Reformation tried to start in Spain, and when all of the Spanish Inquisition was going on, to make a long story short, they chased the Protestants out, beheaded them, and the Catholic Church has still held on to the fact that they killed the Protestant Reformation in Seville, and it's never come back. Well, the missionaries that we were working with, he actually teaches at a seminary there in Seville, and he just got permission to use this old Protestant monastery to teach their Baptist seminary in. So it's really cool the way that it's come full circle. And I don't remember the exact quote, but there's a quote from one of the monks several hundred years ago talking about when they were able to get back in this monastery, then that would be when there was going to be a new kind of Protestant Reformation. It's just really cool to see that coming for full circle in Seville amongst all this Catholic history. The next picture. So this is the church that the missionaries that we went to belong to. It's actually in an old bar. If you can see, there's a pub next door. In the towns in Seville and like the surrounding areas, there are no churches. Like, you'll go town after town after town. There's not a single believer. There's not a single, like, Christian church. So to be in this church, even though it was kind of unconventional in a 3-story bar, it was still really cool to see their faithfulness and the way that they're growing and reaching out into the community. So that was a little part of what we did. You can go to the next one. So a lot of what we did was also working in schools. So this is our group in a school. We were not really allowed to blatantly share the gospel, but we did. We wanted to teach them about American heritage, or like American culture. So we taught them about Easter, and that was a really cool way to kind of get the gospel in, but not be really straightforward with it. But if kids asked us questions, of course, we were allowed to answer, so that was a good opportunity. This was us showing them the bunny hop Easter dance, and so that was a lot of fun, just getting to know the students. The next picture is also, so for the first half of the class, we would kind of give them an overall lesson. The second half, we would break down into small groups and just talk to them. Our platform, I guess, if you will, was that we were there teaching English, so we would try to converse with the kids to help them practice their English, but we would also question them just talking lightly about maybe what they believed or what they did on the weekends. Oh, on the weekends, do you go to church? Well, and then if they asked, we were allowed to share our faith with them. Okay, so another day we spent on the streets just passing out invitations to church. People there are very receptive to learning about other things. They'll be very open and they'll talk with you about it. They might not believe you, but they'll be very open. So this was just one of the days that we were passing out invitations. One of their church members, the guy in the middle, his name was Steve. He has kind of walked his way up from Cameroon, which is a country in Central Africa, and landed in Seville and is now active in the church there. So it's really cool that we were from America, he's from Africa, but we were all kind of doing the same thing, just trying to get people in church. The next picture, another thing that we did was at the college, they have English club for people, and that's in Seville, like the job market is really, really bad. Like it's 50% unemployment. And so in order to get a job, it really helps if you're bilingual. So a lot of people are trying to take English classes. And what the missionaries there do, they offer free English classes for anybody at the college. You don't have to be a college student. Anybody in the community can come. So we went there to try and help them practice English, but also with the intention of sharing the gospel with them. And then that was just a poster for English Club. And then Marcos and Delmas, they were not, so there's a couple, they were not the missionaries we went there to visit, but we ended up working some with them, and I learned so much from them. Marcos was a veterinarian in Cuba. He actually taught taught at the school as a professor how to be a veterinarian. Very smart guy, doing well in Cuba, and they pretty much left that life and came to Spain to be faith missionaries, and they're really, really awesome. Like I said before, there really are no churches in Spain, so when there is a Protestant church, it's usually very small. And so one night, Marcos and Delmas invited us to their kind of like their college and career class, like their young adult class, or it was kind of like a social gathering that they were having, like a Bible study. And so our group of about 5 of us went, and no one else came. Like the people from their church didn't come. And so we're like, did something happen? Like, why isn't anybody here? And he said, oh, that's normal. We usually invite everybody, and usually maybe one or two people will show up. Sometimes no one shows up, but they're still faithful to have it every single weekend, or every week, I mean. And it was just, they were really inspiring because they're doing exactly what they've been called to do. Even though they might not be seeing results, they're still being faithful and still keeping up with the work that God has told them to do, even though they're not seeing anything right away. And that was very inspiring to me because a lot of times we think like, oh, we're going to try this, and if we don't see a result in 2 weeks, we're going to stop doing that. And they were just really a great example of just keeping the faith and keeping doing what God was telling them to do, even though they weren't receiving the benefits right away. That's the last picture that I have, but I just wanted to read a part of my journal from after I came back, just to share with you all the biggest lesson that I learned, the biggest lesson that you all helped me learn by sending me there. And hopefully it will resonate with you too. Going to Spain, I was thinking, this is a developed place. I don't really know how much help we're going to be able to do. They don't need water, they don't need food, but they need what water and food can't give them. They need God. And okay, I'll just read this and stop talking. After being back in the U.S. for a few days, I've had more time to reflect, and this morning God showed me something in my quiet time. The verses were 1 John 1-4. John shares the realness of Jesus so that the lost can understand how personal he is and be fulfilled by a relationship with him. This reminded me so much of how he is shared in Spain. It is only from seeing his love and grace through real relationships with believers that most people come to know a fulfilling relationship with him. The entire Spain experience was a great reminder that I don't have to be on a mission trip to build those relationships. These relationships take place any and everywhere in life. We have the ability and opportunity to show his love and personal relationship with everyone we encounter. It doesn't just have to be on a mission trip. Life is a mission trip in and of itself. So if I could just leave you with that, like, I learned so much through that. Like, you don't have to go out and go to another country or go on a specific trip. Every single relationship that we have is an opportunity to share his love. And so that's just something that's been on my heart ever since I got back. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you so much for sending me to Spain. I can't thank you enough for the ways that it has changed my life. So thank you.